Hey, it's Jim Kilbasso, and I want to talk about something related to long-term athlete development that I don't think is addressed very often. Most of the times when we're talking about long-term athlete development, we're talking about physiological development, and oftentimes it's with younger age groups, not so much the high school level, but I want to take a second to talk about 13 to 17-year-olds and the impact that we as performance and sports coaches can make on kids that age to help them with their long-term athlete development. See, the problem is that around 13 to 14, almost 70% of kids drop out of organized sports. And most often, they say that that's attributable to them not really having fun anymore. It's either gotten boring, it's gotten too intense, the coaches aren't enjoyable anymore. Maybe they're not seeing progress. Maybe they don't want to put the time and effort in. There could be a lot of reasons, but the number one reason is that it's simply not fun anymore. To me, I think if you're in a high school weight room and working with high school age athletes, something that you can do is to help them not only make it fun, but teach them about the process of strength training and performance training and how they can maximize their athleticism and get the most out of their body and also feel great about themselves. You can give them positive encouragement. You can make some sort of a connection with them for things outside of sports. Maybe you like fishing or watching sports or any kind of other recreational activity that maybe you talk about with them that gets them drawn back into sports and into the training process. Giving them a chance to simply get better and helping them get better may be what they need to kind of overcome that stagnation that they're feeling around 13 or 14, to keep them in sports just long enough to see the progress and to start getting better and to start having fun again. I have in this weight room, I have seen kids come in as freshmen that I thought, man, I don't even like this kid. And a year or two later, things have changed dramatically. And maybe it's because they got into training, maybe it's things outside of sports, but the point is, like, I didn't quit on them, and I'm encouraging you to not quit on those kids when they're about 14 years old, just because they're not really into training or they're not really into sports. Because I've seen those kids turn around and end up playing college sports. I've had kids play professional sports. I remember one kid in this very weight room. I had to talk to him multiple times about training and pushing himself and dedicating himself to it. And he ended up having a career in the NBA. So you just don't know. And if I would have really turned somebody off and gotten super hard on them when they were a freshman or a sophomore, and so did their coach, and maybe their friends did the same thing, maybe those kids would quit sports altogether and not have a great experience. And I see a lot of other kids come in and they're struggling with things outside of the weight room, social issues. Maybe it's their weight, maybe it's grades, maybe it's stuff at home, and the weight room or conditioning can almost be their refuge from all that. They can get away from things, they can start to feel good about themselves. They can take out or get some of their stress out by exercising and kind of focus on something that's positive. Another kid that I've seen that I am amazed by, like he was a skinny kid and people made fun of him, and within 1 year, the kid dedicated himself to strength training and to working really hard, and he put on, I think it was 40 pounds, and he feels great about himself now, and he grew, and now he's a completely different person. If I would have looked at that kid as the way he was as a freshman, with maybe not the best attitude and didn't give him any attention and made it no fun so he didn't want to come in here, who knows what would have happened. So I'm going to encourage you to think about those 13 and 14-year-olds as something really special. They're going through a lot. Most of the time, they're very uncomfortable with themselves. They're not comfortable in a weight room because they haven't gotten strong yet, and they're looking around at bigger, older kids and trying to compare themselves to them. And with the female athletes, they've maybe never gotten in a weight room, and they're scared because they think, oh, am I going to get bulked up, or am I going to look a way that I don't want to look? There's all sorts of things that they're unsure of, and in a high school weight room or in your sports performance job or training center, you have the opportunity to kind of dispel some of those myths and make it a positive environment and keep them in sports long enough for them to get the good stuff out of sports and squeeze all the juice out of it and learn those life lessons and meet friends and understand what it takes to push beyond being uncomfortable. So those 13 and 14-year-olds, I think, it's a huge part of long-term athlete development to work on them from the neck up, not just the neck down. Of course, you want to have good training, solid training for them, but make sure that you're addressing all of their needs so that they continue to want to be involved in sports.